This here. Okay. Okay, so the issue is why the hell is it doing that? Oh my god. Why? Of course, there's no error message here. Whatever. Hmm. Um, okay, that kind of makes sense. If I make it. Huh. Why the hell is it doing that? Hmm. Well, who cares? For now, who cares? Okay. I don't know why I'm typing. I definitely prefer Linux, but there's some things you just can't have on Linux. So yes, sir. That's or ma'am. I don't know. There's a lot of things that don't work on Linux, and I'm definitely not going to use them through like a emulation layer. Like I use Cubase for music. I run, things like ZBrush, and um, I like my Visual Studio as well. But I do prefer to just whip up like a Emacs with LSP mode and run my debugger in terminal kind of thing. But that's more of like what do I say? That's more of like out of passion than out of practicality. I'm way more productive if I just have Visual Studio open and like everything's just right there. I've got world class debugger, and you know sometimes I lie to myself and I work in Vim and Emacs and I think that I'm doing the right thing, but the moment I switch to like a better tool, a more comprehensive tool, I realize I'm just lying to myself. Uh, okay. The question right now is, do I run gRPC, which is a heavy piece of shit, or do I switch to flat buffers, which is not. Okay, how do I install this compiler? I have to build it, don't I? Build a compiler for flat buffers. Cool. Okay, flat buffers GitHub. Do I have to like download it, install it, or can I just compile it? I have a feeling that Windows flat C binary. Maybe this is all I need. Oops. I'm with you, man. Before I was a Linux guy, I was a Mac OS guy. That's what I kind of prefer to work on. For years, I would buy MacBooks and work on those, just because it was almost like the best of both worlds. I get my Unix shell, and I could use like Adobe software and all the other shit that I needed for my music production and everything. But everything good comes to an end. Apple's just not where it used to be. Some would argue that they're getting better with their M1 chips and whatever, but I think my little girl is starting to. My wife is looking at that. Okay, so if I restart the terminal, I should have flat C installed. Yes, I do. Okay. How is this gonna work now? What? How is it spying on me? I'm not aware of this. I'm not um, questioning the judgment. I'm just curious, like, what? What do you think it's doing? Windows, that is. Okay, can I use CMake with this thing, or do I have to literally just build from the command line? Flat buffers with CMake integration. Linux CMake can be out. I don't need VC PKG, but it would be cool to be able to just compile as part of my build script. Of course, this guy is like not teaching me anything interesting. He's hard coding paths. Or maybe this isn't actually too bad. Build flat buffers, find package flat buffers. Okay, let me try this. Let me try this. Maybe this is what I need. Which snapshots, eh? Who is Spyco? What up, man? So it's taking snapshots of my screen, or is that what you're saying? Oh wait, I removed VC PKG. Okay, so I will need what I need is, so this is shipping the compiler. What I need is the actual library. So what I'm gonna do is download this snapshot of the source code. Let's do that. Let's put it here. And let's make this work. SDKs, flat buffers. Let's see what's inside here. Okay. Extract here. So now what we can do is go back to our trusty terminal, open another tab. Here, I'll make this font bigger so I don't torture you guys. Oops. Okay, so we have a CMake list here. Good. CMake-s-b build bs. I like how I don't get email notifications until I start streaming. Focus. Thank you. Okay. CMake-build. Build. This might be the way. So I'm trying to build this flat buffers thing because what I'm doing is I'm building a yeah, by the way, that MS account thing to log in is absolute bullshit. It pisses me off. There's ways around it, but the fact that you have to use workarounds is kind of annoying. So yeah. Bottom line is I got work to do, you know? So if I can't get it done on Linux, I'll get it done on Windows, and it is what it is. Are you guys into game programming or engine stuff, or is there an interest there? Okay. I thought it's supposed to show a red dot when you're streaming, but okay. Cool. So, are we almost done here? C-S-B build tooling. So this is going to complain. Okay. make prefix path equals, and what I need to do is, so I think I built this for release. What I need to do is, why is this like a commit patch? I'm just gonna use the date. Is that the version, and this is the date? What did you guys? I think version blah blah blah. Okay, cool. I don't care about the date. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna install this like that. Cmake dash dash install build vs 2s SDKs dash dash config release. So that, no, you don't like that? Oh, yes, that makes sense. How's that going? Cannot find. What do you mean cannot find? What the hell did I just build if you can't find the lib file? Is this thing not playing nice with CMake? Is that what's going on? Is that what's happening? Or did I, no, I did a debug build. I guess, I thought, okay, whatever. I thought the default was a release build, but I guess I was wrong. Damn, this stream's not going well. I guess nobody gives a shit. Let's delete this and install a debug build. Okay, that's more like it. Now I can just take this path. I actually might have to cut this stream short because I think I have a baby waking up. Okay. So, okay, so that's good. We got flat buffers. And now we need, we found that to include, cool. Go to the C++, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Where's my engine? Oh. Did I nail it? I think I did. Yeah, that's a pretty good start. What are you coding in? Supports both reading and writing flat buffers in C++. Use flat buffers in your code for generate classes from your schema. Then you can include both flat buffers and the generated code to read and write. I prefer SDL only because it's the only one I've ever used for platform stuff. But I'm not even using SDL for what I'm doing anyways. Because this thing is built, like the render is with Vulkan. I did a tutorial showing like how to use sorry, I'm just looking at my baby monitor here. I did it. What about C++? I mean, I'll show you how much SDL code I'm actually using. Like, this is it. That's it, nothing else. I'm literally just using it to spin up a window. And sorry, I lied. There's also key up and key down events that I'm receiving. And then I just push those into my engine. And then that's it for SDL. I did a video on my channel kind of teaching how to do SDL programming, which uses like the SDL renderer and all that. But, you know, that only gets you so far, right? So I've never actually used the SDL renderer for anything kind of more serious. I always kind of use OpenGL, or I've done DirectX or Vulkan. So I decided to start this new engine, and the first backend that I'm building for it is a Vulkan backend. I think I'll probably support a Direct3D backend as well, since I'm having to use Direct3D for some stuff, like the interop here. Like if I run this, you will see while that's happening. Okay. Okay, flat buffers, reading and writing flat buffers in C++. First generate the classes. Okay. Okay, I'll be right back while this is building. I need to go check on my little baby daughter. I don't know if you left, but if you are, have a good evening. For me, it's a morning. And if you're still there, yeah, Vulkan is a much bigger learning curve. I mean, just initially. Concepts are identical. Everything is, it's just the render pipeline, you know? Shaders are the same. It's really not that much harder. Okay, so if I have proto buffers, or not proto buffers, if I do I have my includes here? Let's go, Visual Studio, do IDE things. Okay. And how does it want me to? Okay, let's try this. I am going to do a, what is it, FPS? Let's call this engine.fps. Just keep things simple. So namespace engine dot interrupt. Let's be fancy. Semicolons. Okay. And that's cool. So there's unions. There's, let's do table. Are they all tables or struct? What's the difference? What is the difference between a table and a struct? You would. It's interesting. Okay. Overview. Structs. Tables. Okay. We're defining objects and flat buffers. Okay. And when would I use a struct? Let's see there. Struct the fields. Whoever wrote this, you can have default values here. And then okay, this is just poor wording. Similar to a table, structs consist of fields are required. Like, it's not a sentence, proper sentence, but whatever. So I guess these are all just required. Structs may only contain scalars or other structs. This is for simple objects where you're very sure no changes will ever be made. Why the hell would I ever do that? Oh, less memory. I mean, sorry, these don't really worry me in terms of memory. And are even faster to access. Okay, I guess if they're, I'll have to benchmark. If they're really that much faster, it's worth it. I am talking to nobody. Okay, so. Semicolon. Is there a semicolon at the end? No, there isn't. Okay. X is a flight, and it's semicolon in the type. Let's do short because we don't care. And then flat C engine dash CPP. Is it dash dash CPP? Field name should be lowercase snake case. Oh, wow, that's okay, whatever. Let's do what it wants. How do you okay, don't care. Okay, quick start. How to use the compiler. Can you specify directories so I don't dump everything at the same place? Where's C sharp? Oh, dash N. Okay. So we okay, generated some C sharp for me. Hey, good man. How you doing? Or you're already gone? Says someone spoke, but then there's no one in the chat. Or rather, no one in the stream. Okay. I think what I need to do is now that I have that, I can go to my CMake lists file. Okay, add library. This is going to be, actually does it only generate headers? I can just do this, can't I? CMake root source. How do you get the root source? I always forget this crap. Cmake root, cmake lists.txt file. How do you get that? Or is it just cmake source? Source dir, I think this is what it is. Slash, and let's do this, slash flat buffers. And then that's going to be a problem though. I think what I should be doing, let's try it, whatever. If I build, it should regenerate. Build failed. Why? Why are you failing? Where's the error? This. Oh. Visual Studio's fake errors. I mean, I could, yeah. There's a lot of good OpenGL content. If I don't know, have you explored? LearnOpenGL.com is amazing. If you, I mean, everyone kind of stumbles on it, so I'd be surprised if you haven't checked it out. This should work, I think. Oh, flat buffs. Yes. That is my problem. How about I actually call it flat buffers? Is there a rename? Move. Okay, move flat buffs to flat buffers. Okay. Let's not be lazy. All right. Now, with that, I should be able to flat buffers, or not flat buffers, engine gen. What the hell? Why? The path to the top level source tree. Okay, which would be this. And flat buffers. I should have engine generated in there. Or is it? Is this why? Don't bullshit me. Okay, it doesn't have to recompile everything. Jesus Christ. Like, why is it recompiling everything? Okay, while that's happening, I need to think about how to transmit this stuff. Bullshit. That's not an error. I know that's not an error. Okay, it does find it. Weird. What do you mean? The file is literally right here. No such file or... Okay. So how am I getting to the file when I click on it then? Is this thing just searching? I don't understand how that's not working. Pretty sure. Flat buffers. This is the root file. How is it not finding it? What? The hell is it generating? External includes. Where the hell does it put my include paths? I usually just use CMake directly. I don't generate C++ projects, but Visual Studio kind of sucks at directly working with CMake. Okay, whatever. I don't need to check this. Why flat buffers? Like, why can it not? It should be from here. Have to do something stupid like this. Hey. Engine generated. That doesn't make sense. This won't make sense either. Or it shouldn't. Yeah. Yeah. Wait, Luna's coming. I don't understand why this thing is not found in current source files directory. I'm not looking for it. Times like this, I wish CMake had a face that I could punch. Like, where is that file? Target include directories. Is current source dir not right? Like, I mean, rather a CMake source directory. How to get root CMake list.txt file. Oh my god, of course, I'm not gonna find that. CMake source dir. This should give me the root. This path is the full path to the top level of the current source. For any source. That should be in script mode. This would be the same as. This is the full path to the top level of the current CMake source tree. For an in-source build, this would be the okay. CMake source dir. Okay. What about if I do it a hackier way? So if I go from here, no, not from here. From here, I go 1, 2. Yeah, CMake can be a time waster. Normally, I don't have trouble with it. But for some reason, it's being pretty annoying right now. So 1, 2, and then flat buffers. So 1, 2, and then flat. Like, doesn't make sense that this is what I would have to do, but oh my god, why does it recompile everything? Like, changing the include directories. This is probably a problem with like MS build or something. Like, it shouldn't have to recompile everything just because I tweaked. I mean, I can't assume that headers haven't changed because this directory changes, but kind of should have some of that metadata. So you're learning C++ or? Did we fail again? No such file or directory. I'm so confused. So you're probably about my age. Okay, why don't we try this? Because I'm gonna lose my shit. Set flat buff headers, and we'll say cmake source dir / flat buffers. Okay, now let's try printing this path. Let's just do this. And can I get this thing? Flat buff. Oh, yeah, obviously that's not going to work. Yeah, you're kind of like where I started. I'm 42. I started with basic, a little bit, but I kind of jumped into Turbo C quite early on. And like this should work. Yeah, I remember, going to the library and looking at C++ and C books and like wondering like, oh, how will I wait, did I type that in wrong previously? Wondering like how can I write this? I don't, because QBasic came with every computer basically, right? Like every DOS computer had QBasic. But then I found out about Turbo C and later the Borland C++ stuff, and that's when I really started kind of sinking my teeth into programming. I do have a 20-year career of writing C# and Java code, and only in the last 10 years, 8 to 10 years, have I really been writing C++ kind of more steadily or consistently rather. Just getting into a lot of this game and engine stuff. But something is being goofy here. One thing I never got into was assembly, though it always fascinated me. I've written an emulator for 6502, like when I started. I never finished it, but I worked on a NES emulator, and I did get the 6502 emulator working pretty well and passing a lot of tests. Um, so that kind of forced me to learn a lot about assembly, not x86, of course, but it was a fun time. Build failed. Engine generator. Like, I don't understand why this thing is. Well, you were doing more interesting stuff than me, maybe. I wasn't handling it. I didn't even have a joystick. um, but I did play around with like little putting pixels on the frame buffer, fire demos, and stuff that I would see in books or the early internet. Um, I don't understand. This is just wasting my time right now. Like I should be, like it clearly finds the file. It's it's right here. You found it. And then it's saying that it cannot open file. Oh my God. I know. I think I know why. This needs to be a public. I think that's all it is. Because, oh my God, it's going to recompile everything. God, this thing's annoying. 100% that's what the issue is. It's because my engine is actually just a header file. And it pulls in all the systems are compiled separately. This thing is just the scaffolding that kind of hooks in all the systems. So whatever is using the engine, like the game library, is literally just bringing in engine.h. So yeah, so the library that needs to actually have that include is gamelib and not just the engine library. I'm thinking out loud, by the way. So the problem is that if this isn't public, none of the libraries that use the engine will get this include. So I'm pretty sure that's what the issue is. As soon as this pointless compiling finishes, yeah, it should work. You might find this interesting since you've dabbled in quite a few languages. So I'm working on the setting up the sort of the foundation for the tooling for this game engine. Like I have a ton of stuff already for actually driving gameplay code and rendering code and whatnot, right? Like I have a whole bunch of systems in place, but what I want is a UI framework. Oh my God, don't tell me. No, okay, good. It's a different error. And you're working as Nova. What I wanted to do was build like some tooling around the engine, and I really like C sharp, like WPF, but it's Windows only, which would normally be fine because I tend to do all my work in Windows for various reasons. But I do like Avalonia, which is like the evolution of WPF, and it's like fully GPU driven and has like a nice native backend, really nice GUI framework with really nice tooling, right? Like you can literally just build your UIs in here and then actually just work with them right through the designer. For some reason, it's not pulling in my. Oh no, it is okay. But obviously, C sharp and C++ interop is a little bit of a problem for some people, but it's actually pretty nice how well it works. I have like a DLL that my engine and game project kind of expose, and then C sharp just kind of hooks into it and it kickstarts the engine. Did I compile? No, I didn't. And get services. Okay, what happened? This thing is just like engine has already been defined. Okay, that's because this shouldn't be here. What I'm gonna do, how many platforms Windows has gone through? Yeah, WPF is a veteran though. Like I agree with you, but if you look at like WinForms and WPF, they're all used extensively today. or rather, they're both used extensively. They're very mature, very stable. So you want to talk winners? Those are winners, right? Like, and Avalonia is essentially a continuation of that. It kind of takes WPF and just makes it nicer, and makes it run across like Linux and Mac OS. So essentially, this is what's happening here. I have my engine running in a separate thread. I have a C# application that communicates over DLL with the engine. And the engine is running in a completely separate thread, so it's like communicating via like a message queue, an atomic message queue that I made for it. And I don't want to do everything through the DLL boundaries though. So what I'm doing right now is I'm setting up a what I'm doing is I'm setting up like, I was going to use gRPC, but it feels so heavy, and I don't think I want to bring in like all of that shit just for, it's not really just for, like, it's kind of a big deal, but it just feels so heavy. And there's this like flat buffers thing, which essentially like you generate a bunch of structures, data structures. I'll show you. You kind of tell it like, you know, I want this data structure, and it'll generate C++, C#, Java, whatever code you want. So it's like protobufs. And then you can just start working with these data types, like serializing and deserializing them with whatever language you choose. So essentially, I've generated C++ code for like, there's the C++ code for it, right? It has like this flat C compiler that you run, and you tell it like, I want Java code or Kotlin code or whatever the hell Lobster is. But like, I've generated C# and C++ code, and you can see if you go inside interop, if I open render info.cs, like, it's generated the C# code, so I can work with that as well. So essentially, I can just like exchange messages between the two systems. And it's apparently super performant, this thing. So I don't have to go over DLL boundaries and deal with all this like export import bullshit, like creating these methods and matching them up. I can literally just like, what I think I'll do is I'll make one generic method that just passes like a byte buffer across the DLL, and part of that message will be like you know, message or event ID or message ID or whatever. And message ID 1 could be like render info, right? And then it'll just take the byte buffer and deserialize it into like a render info object. And they can just use one single method to communicate, just serializing and deserializing a byte buffer back and forth, which is going to be easier than maintaining this kind of DLL crap all the time. I just need these two methods. Like, this kickstarts the tooling version of the engine, and this kickstarts like the standalone version. And I just want to streamline the comms because I don't like writing all these export things. I mean, the export things might end up being easier. We'll see. I'll try it out and see how it works. So what I need to do though is figure out now if I'm going to, I'm going to add another file, just so I'm not dealing with this compile, recompile every 3 seconds bullshit. And I'm going to put it inside of the tooling folder. Where are you from, by the way? Which I got. Oh, Montreal, nice. I lived in Toronto for 30 years, but I was born in Bulgaria, and now I'm back in Bulgaria. But I did grow up in Canada. Flat buff, our engine. What should I call it? I should call it. Interrupt.h. Fuck it. That's what it's called. Yeah. Seriously, man. Toronto is this could turn into a Toronto shit talking session, but Montreal is definitely a better city in some ways. Not always, but definitely, I think, in terms of nightlife and architecture and just friendliness, it's definitely it's got a cooler vibe, you know. Let's keep this simple, and then public. I'm gonna say. Let's do this for now. Render info. And then let's create this file. And then we'll do one of these. Interrupt.h. And now let's just build that. Fantastic. Reload all. Okay. Hopefully this means that it'll be much shorter compile times, because dumping everything inside of engine is going to be a nightmare. Let's go include tooling interrupt.h. Okay, and then let's interrupt. Let's go with wait, how should I do this? I should not put that here. Engine worker. Engine worker. I think I should put it here. And then get this. Oops. Jesus Christ. My fingers are not doing what they're supposed to. Let's do that. Okay. All right, good. And now we can, let's just say, let's do the complete description of the game in XML file using, doesn't sound like a bad idea. I still don't know how to use this flat buffs yet, so I'm gonna say get stuff just so I can keep moving forward, and this will get renamed after. Okay, now what does it want me to do? It wants me to, this is gRPC, that's not what I want. What I need, let's generate it, make flat C, integration. Okay, so that's generated. I do think XML gets a bad rap. I've never used Xerxes actually. Render info. Okay. And now inside of this, include flat. Where did I? Or is it just engine generated? I think. Yes, it is. Okay. Hopefully, this only compiles interop and just links. Beautiful. That's what I wanted. I mean, everyone's got a hard on for JSON, but there's things you just can't do in JSON that you can do in XML, like different elements referencing each other. For example, if you wanted, speaking of game data, let's say you wanted like a test.xml, right? Like, let's say you wanted game data, right? And you wanted like player dialogue. Oops. Right, you wanted to store like the dialogue between characters that's going to appear on screen, which is like, hey man, how's it going, right? Like, imagine you wanted this thing to play character by character, but when it gets to like, wake up man, when it gets to like the man part, you want this to like vibrate the screen, right? You can't, how are you going to do that in JSON, right? Like, you want to have these little injected things like vibrate. And like, your dialogue system can literally start playing this piece of dialogue on the screen for the game and go, hey man, blah, blah, like character by character. And then it gets to this tag and then it goes, oh, I know what that is. And then it just triggers like a screen shake effect when you yell man or something, right? Like, what would you do with JSON? There's a lot of things like that, right? Like the fact that in JSON, it's key value pairs for everything. And in XML, this is literally just, when you parse this, it's going to be text, tag, text, and it's going to discover things as it goes along. Like if you use like, I think a SAC style parser. So what that means is like, you could even load incomplete data and get as far as you can get, right? So you can like be streaming stuff in without knowing where the end tag is, and your SAC parser can just sit there and wait, right? But stuff like this is like huge for me, right? Or you might have like character ID equals Nick, and then here you could say like what is it, ref equals, I can't remember, Nick, and this will get enforced by the XML schemas, right? Like if I type Nick 2, it'll be like, there's no Nick 2. Like, you can't really, the JSON tooling doesn't give you all that for free, right? So XML is like vastly superior in some ways, but people love to hate on things other people love to hate on, and people just kind of repeat stuff, and XML's gotten a bad rap for being heavy, but it's like, who cares, right? Like, unless you're doing really, really high frequency, low latency stuff, like you're writing trading software and you don't want to like parse all the shit, for like a data format, nothing beats XML, I think. Yeah, but it's not. Like, why? Because you have to type a tag name? Like, I don't understand that argument, right? I do hear people say that, and I don't get, their arguments are weak, right? And usually it's tooling that creates the XML, and reads the XML, not you as a human, right? Usually you'll have a class, it'll pick up, like in C Sharp, for example, which is one of the reasons why I'm using it for the tooling. XML parsing or XML serializing, deserializing is like just out of the box. You make a class, you tag the fields with whatever property names you want, and it just spits out the XML. It'll validate it for you. You can load the XML. You never have to write the XML, right? Like your tools generally do that for you. So like it's not a valid argument, I think, when people make that argument. Usually you don't write these things by hand. So what we need to try now is external. Let's just go void engine API. But it's still not even that bad in C++. I think TinyXML was kind of a breeze to work with. I'm using it for, what the hell was I using it for? Oh, I was using it to load, is it my TMX map loader? Why is it not TMX? Oh, come on. This is why people hate Visual Studio, like tmx.cpp. What do you mean nothing to load? What do you mean? I'm pretty sure there's something to load. Like there's the file. It's just Visual Studio's like, I don't know what that is. Stupid. Pretty sure this is where, yeah, I'm using it to load. Like it's about as simple as it gets, right? Like load file, XML, get the root element, and just read some properties out. It literally, like I couldn't have thought of an easier interface, right? Like load a child, get the net, loop over them, right? Get the first child, and then just loop over its siblings for every what were they? I can't remember what the child element I'm looking for is. I think, oh, no, I'm checking here. So if it's like a tile set or if it's like an object group or whatever, like it's pretty simple. Obviously you're writing this stuff by hand because you don't have like all the reflection stuff that you get with C# and Java, but it's pretty straightforward. It wasn't too bad. Yeah, like in the C# world, it'll do everything for you. Yeah, you can even like it'll generate classes and dump them inside of your build directory, so that when you write your code, you'll just have like a C# class available that you didn't even have to like specify or anything. Like the tools are so good in the .NET world, which again is why I'm using C++ for all the core stuff, but all the other working with XML or JSON or whatever, I'd rather do it like for the tooling. That is, I'd rather do it in the C# world. And anything that's runtime that has to be like high performance, obviously is going to be baked into the core of the engine. And then if I need something to happen, I just shoot a message into the engine does it, comes back with the result. Right? That's sort of the idea, which is why I'm working on this interop layer right now. I could just keep doing, like I said, DLL stuff, but why not do it a little differently? So let's say send message. Let's do this. Engine worker, and let's say int message ID. Let's start with this. And we're going to go here. And then we're going to say worker. Where did I put that? Get stuff. Okay, we'll just call get stuff for now. Not that. Where the hell get stuff. This is all I need. And now, if I want to do the interop, I can just go to like my C#. This is why I'm not sure that I want to go down this route, because once I create this method in C++, like in the CPP file, I can just go here and literally just make a method called, what did I call it? Post message, send message. Send message, and then just go int message ID. And now I can just call into that DLL function. Like, it's so easy. What did I do? That's, or is it because this is already defined somewhere? Yes, it's defined. It's this. It's a Windows function. Send interop message. Fine, we'll just go with something stupid like that for now. I just want to see this work. Interop message and interop message. Now, are you happy? I think now it's going to be happy. And then I just need to call that function from C#. Let's do that in let's do that from here after the worker is created. So this will like kickstart the engine thread. I called the thread the worker, so it's kind of like a worker around the engine, like a wrapper. And this essentially will do this. It'll just call this function, kick off a C++ thread, and then run a tight loop that just processes cross-boundary events like C# to C++ events, and calls step on the engine. And that'll run every system, the input system, the render system, the physics system, and all that. This all happens inside the step method, right? This is where everything sort of runs. This is the main loop. And, you know, I have like a multi-stage loop. So I have like anything that's a gameplay system will get processed here. Physics systems like collision and physics and all that input system. So this will just run, and everything's like with a central queue and all that. So that starts the engine. And then I want to do what I call it, send interop message worker.value. And then I'm going to say, let's go with message ID 13, just for shits and giggles, and see what happens. I should be, oh, I need to turn on mixed mode debugging so I can step from, this is like where the tools really help, because you can literally jump from C# to C++ with the debugger in Visual Studio seamlessly. Like, it takes a bit of a hit on startup because it has to like load a bunch of DLLs. Right now it's just loading the engine, I think. But yeah, see, like now I'm in C# land, and if I hit F11, I will be in C++ land. And then if I go to get stuff, render info, so in here, I need to now start working with these flat buffers. Yeah, that tends to happen. A lot of people just want, and I mean, everything was a mess, right? At one point, sometimes you just want to see stuff working. But I've made engines in the past, or at least attempted at making engines, and I was talking about this on the stream yesterday. Like, oftentimes you just end up engineering a bunch of bullshit that is horrible to work with, because, you know, oh, I got to do an ECS. Everyone's doing ECS. It's so fast. And sure, ECS is good, not because of its speed. You can get that speed with anything if you know what you're doing. It's all just like cache, data-driven design stuff. But I am using a form of hybrid ECS for this engine, but like my last one was just like, I made this like clean system and everything was nicely architected in the sense of like for performance. And then I started trying to make games with this engine and it was just like, this sucks. Like, cool, it's fast, but like, what use is it if it's like everything is like fighting the system, right? So this one is really much more focused on like, I want events. Like, I want like first class citizen is the event structure, and one system, like let's say my health system can communicate that something died. It sends messages. Everything is like statically compiled. Different systems will like, I'll show you what I mean. Like, let's look at enemy system, right? Like the enemy system can run every tick, but this one doesn't. This one just handles the death event, for example. So the enemy, I haven't added AI for these things, but like the enemy system will receive a death event and it'll just kick off an animation play event, right? Like nothing, I don't have to like hold references to the animation system or do any kind of stupid shit that ends up turning into spaghetti by like the end of the game project. Like I literally just get the components because it is an ECS in a way. I get the components for this node, and I call them nodes because they're not really just these lightweight entities. They're more than that. They're aware of like their parents and their children and all this other stuff. But like I check, okay, is the enemy the creeper? And if it is, I can just. I don't even think. Why am I keeping this? I don't need this anymore. I made a bunch of changes where I don't need the resource thing. But yeah, like it'll just make this thing dead and then play the death animation. And that's it, right? Like, and then if anyone is out there listening for the death animation, like the animation system and the render system, which both are, like if I go animation system, sprite animation system rather, like if you look at the code for that, no, that's the component. Where's the system? There we go. Like when this system is constructed, it registers itself as like, hey, I give a shit about animation play and stop events. And when that happens, when any of those events happen, the animation system can handle them. And I haven't implemented stop because I haven't needed to stop an animation. Usually you just have it like one shot or continuous, but it'll just set up the whatever node is having an animation play event set on it. I can just do that, right? Like I can just grab the animation component for that node and set up what I need to set up. And that's it. The bottom line is though, I don't have to have like an enemy system that knows about an animation system or a sprite system or whatever. It's like these tiny little blocks of code that just fire messages around. And if I run did I compile? If I run the game actually, or the engine, once it loads up and you see the game demo start, like, see, sprite animation system received an animation play event. It received another, like every object that actually has an animation will receive these events. So you'll see what seems like a duplicate, but they're not. And the Vulkan render system, the reason why it's saying that is because if I walk a little further this way, you'll see that there's another guy here, this creeper enemy, who has his animation playing. And if I start shooting, you'll see there's input system, which translates. So the input system picked up the key press, and then it knew that if I press a certain key, it should map to a shoot begin and shoot end event. So player is shoot begin, weapon system is shoot begin, and blah, blah, blah. And it's all kind of wired that way. And everything is just messages flying over the wire, which at first, obviously I was hesitant to do it like this, but it makes making games so much nicer and so much cleaner. And you can optimize all of this. Like this can all be optimized however you want. Like I still need to do some optimizations myself. Like if I open this, I don't even remember. Yeah, it's like just it's literally allocating memory on the heap every single time an event gets fired. Like I can just make this like a memory pool and it'll be substantially faster, right? Considering how many events are going over the wire, I can just remove this memory allocation and speed it up and it'll be faster. But I don't care right now. I want to make sure this is like easy to work with and correct. And then eventually I'm like, okay, let me just do like to do remove heap allocations, right? I can just come back here and it's going to be a point of optimization that I can tackle later. So you don't have to prematurely optimize, I guess is what I'm saying. Optimization is a lot more fun when you have something working correctly, but you're like, this could be faster. And then you go and then you like find these places where you can optimize. And it's a lot more fun when something is slow and then you make some changes and then it's fast and you're like, I'm so good, you know? If you prematurely optimize, you lose that feeling because your code might be fast from the get-go. You never get to see it get optimized. And you might write like incorrect code because you're focusing on speed rather than correctness up front. Oh, I shouldn't have touched that file. Fuck. It's like the event queue is at the core of everything. So it's like, oh, you changed that file. I'm going to recompile the entire engine. It's not too bad, actually. It's fine. Okay, so what I needed to do is stop blabbing for a bit. And let's see. Serializing data. Okay. I don't, what? Flat buffers, flat buffer builder. Okay, most languages use a builder object for managing binary data that's serialized into it. Provides an API for serializing data as well as keeps track of some internal state. Generated code wraps methods, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so if I go flat buffers, flat buff builder, what is this, 1024 bytes? Okay, let's try that. Probably don't need that much. And then, what are we doing? In this tutorial, we're building monsters and weapons for a computer game. A weapon is blah, blah, blah. So I already have like my render info stuff. Since string is a reference type, we first need to serialize it before assigning it to the name field. Some name serialized. Let's do flat buffers. What did I do? Offset. And I think I need to do render info, or I need to bring in what is it? Engine interrupt render info. Oh, is there a render info builder? There is. How do I use that? Okay, whatever. I'll do that after. And let me try that. What does that do? Is that just a subclass of flatbuff builder? Render for builder. Explicit. That's cool. Let's try that. Engine interop render info builder rib, and then I think I need to just do, is it a constructor? Okay, I don't know why. Why does this exist? Add max frames in flight. Okay. 3. Why do I have to explicitly call the... No, this is creating a function now. Flat bus builder. That's a copy constructor. That's a move constructor. So do I have to... I think I need to do this. Let's say builder. And now I should be able to, okay. So let's put a breakpoint and run that again. Okay, let's run. Okay, so we have, this will give us that. What just happened? I think my computer is just being slow. So this will add element in 16. Very cool. Okay, that's doing exactly what it's supposed to. So what I need to do is then, cool, vectors, unions, finishing. You can do finish, instructability, monster is complete, you call monster. Once you finish building, you can no longer serialize more data to it. And then buffer access is literally just, oh, that's so easy. That is so easy. Okay, let's try. Let's do rib.finish. This will give me get buffer pointer. Okay, uint 8t buff equals rib dot, no, not this way. Get, no, I need to use the builder. Builder get buffer. Oh, there's a span too. That's cool. And span should have like a, yeah, see, it's like iterator friendly. Data will give me the pointer and size will give me the size. Okay. So what I can return, I'll have to do this my own way. Let's go struct message buffer, and then we'll say uint 8t buffer. We'll say data, since it is a buffer. and then we'll say size t byte size. So we should be able to return this. Whatever, we'll leave that like that for now. And then this can return message buffer. And then we can return message buffer data equals span dot data. And then dot byte size equals span dot size. And this will give me a message buffer. And engine worker. So this will give me a message buffer. Return, and then gets tough. This thing will also just return a message buffer. Message buffer. And now we have interop, and which also means that we'll also need that class on the C# side. Let's say struct message buffer, maybe int pointer data, and then let's make these public. Copilot is right. Public int size. Okay, and we should be able to do message buffer here. So now everything maps, and here I should be able to say message buffer my buff equals, and let's see what happens. If I get my data back, then I will have a nice little generic. What are you complaining about? Oh, is it because I need to have okay, nice. Let's run that. So if we step in, good. Abort. Let's try that again. Step in. Do you want to continue being notified? An automatic step over of a property or operation. And just, yes, sure. Interrupt, render info. Okay. Builder, this, add, finish. This should. Why? What is the assertion that failed? Expression finished. Retry. If you get this error, you're attempting to get access over which hasn't been finished yet. What did I? Is it because I am calling finish on rip? I need to call finish on the builder, I think. What? Pretty sure I just... Okay. Don't care. Finishing. Finish orc. I should probably read this a little bit better. I'm kind of skipping over it. Offset. Okay, did I make the offset? Okay, I think I'm gonna just follow what the tutorial says. Render rend.inf. Let's go like that, rend info, and then rend info. That should finish that. So I got it to work, and it's pretty good, but I didn't do it the way you did it. I created. Yeah, that's what I did initially. It's much easier that way, but you're gonna run into some limitations there. I found it to be a little bit frustrating to work with. Like my original approach was that I would just pass the window handle and then initialize all the shit. But I gotta say, like, doing it the way I'm doing it is worth the hassle for me personally. Because one thing you can't do is this. Like, I have my viewport. I can put stuff on top of the viewport. Like I can put drop downs with like transparent buttons. Like I can put something in the top right corner and then I'll click and maybe change the camera or something, right? Like you can put controls over the actual viewport. Whereas if it's your own window handle, you kind of can't. And I remember having to even uh, dig into like WinAPI message handling when I did it with the window handle because I wanted stuff. What do you have? Like you're putting stuff on top, or you have like is your engine doing that? Because I don't think you can overlay, or maybe you can. I don't know. I read that you can't do that, and I remember having trouble with it. So you can put stuff on top of, like you can layer stuff. That's cool. How did you do it? Are you still using just XAML to do it? Like you can, or where's the? I don't need this. You can just use the layout system and stack stuff. Nice. How about like resizing and stuff? I remember it being kind of jittery and not really very smooth when I first did that, at least. I'll have to see if you post it. I'm curious how it works. I'd love to see it if you put it on like GitHub or something. Oh, you should. I'm not sure if you saw the GitHub or the Discord link last time, but you should hop on there. We can have a look. I'm very curious about your setup. Oh, no. Offset Monster. Okay. See, this is what happens when you don't take your own advice. I've always been like, oh, read the docs before you start. You end up wasting time fiddling with shit. But I didn't take my own advice, and now I'm just like piecing stuff together. IRC, wow. I mean, I have was it Bitch X? I think I still have it installed. Uh, I might even have MIRC. Yeah, I do. Or no, I don't. I don't. No, I do have it. I just don't use it much, but I did used to use IRC religiously back in the day, and I wrote like scripts for MIRC and all this piracy used to go on there. Okay, I think now I have beautiful. I have data. Let me just double check. So byte size is 20 and 1FB95 is the pointer. Let's see what this gave me. Oh, look at that. It works. Now I can just deserialize this. Now the question is, how do I? Yeah. Was that the fserv list or something like that? It's been so long since I looked at that stuff. Emo, you gotta let me know where that is. I'd love to see the, or if I can build it easily, that would be cool too. I want to see how it works for you with just the window handle, because for me, my trouble was that um, like doing stuff like this, for example, just this might actually crash, but like the resizing was pretty bad, I remember. And this is just so nice and seamless. Like, um, I really, really like how much smoother it works. I thought you said that you could overlay. Didn't you say you got that working? You're right. It's not the end of the world. You can just put stuff above it. But if you open an app like Blender or Maya and you have like uh, it'll be nice for me to be able to just like I said, list the cameras, or if I click on something, I want to be able to overlay. Like, let's say I click on an object in the scene and I right click it. Like you can do like pop-up menus and stuff right on top of that control, right? Like, so there's a lot of cool stuff you can do if everything is just integrated together. But like, you could just click on the object in your scene and then have the menu at the top or something. It doesn't. You're right. It's not the end of the world. I really wanted to get the interop working, and it was really easy when I was doing it for my Direct 3D renderer. And you're gonna laugh actually, because since we spoke, I originally had the Vulkan renderer kind of tied together, if you remember. But the Avalonia Vulkan backend is kind of trash compared to the Direct 3D one. And I highly recommend you don't use like what I originally had. If I open program.cs, originally I was using this Vulkan backend. But I don't know who wrote their Vulkan backend, but it's not good. Like there's validation errors and problems, and I thought I could work around it, but it's just not good. And there's even, you can see how it like draws stuff. It breaks. Like I would maximize the application, and then the fonts would get blurry, like it wouldn't scale stuff properly because their swap chain was broken. Like this, going from like this size to this size, like it would make my fonts look blurry. Like you're not supposed to zoom in. You're supposed to re-rasterize everything, right? Like, or not even re-rasterize. You're just supposed to scale the layout. And I don't know. It was just it was problematic. And if I was looking at the debug output, I would see literal errors coming from their application that had nothing to do with my engine. Like even canceling my engine completely and just running the application, their Vulkan swap chain would break. So I'm like, okay, I'm using their default one, which is DirectX 11. That's their most mature backend. Or OpenGL is pretty nice too. So what I ended up doing is actually when the engine starts up, it actually loads up my Direct 3D 11 render system, which I ported over into this for the sole purpose of creating textures in Direct 3D land that I can then share. And so this will literally just create I ripped this out of another project that I have where I was rendering this stuff in Direct 3D, but it'll just create a few textures with DirectX 11 that I can then share, and then it hands them back to my engine, and my engine receives its own copy of the texture handles, and Avalonia gets its own copy, and my engine draws on them using like a mutex that they both share, and it just works beautifully now. Like it's so much nicer than the Vulkan to Vulkan horseshit that I was doing before, which it worked, but like I said, their Vulkan backend needs work. But now this is just seamless. Like it's so nice. And yeah, I think I can just like I did have some buttons overlaid before. I took them out because they weren't doing anything, but I think I can just start doing that stuff. I don't remember if I do like button test button, and if I put this like at grid.column 1, I don't remember how to stack stuff. There is a way to. I don't remember how I was doing. You can just stack controls on top of each other, or is it actually? Do I put it inside the viewport? Let me run it. Yeah, there you go. You obviously have to position it, but I can like put them all across the top or whatever. Let me see, something like combo box item. Like I could have the cameras, camera 1, or let's make this nicer looking. Top, front, perspective, something like, 3D Studio Max or whatever. Can I do, let's try horizontal alignment center and width. And how do you set default? How do you set default item? Default. I know that there's, or is it just selected? Selected. There is a way to obviously set the default. Selected item. think selected index. And I think, yeah. Yeah, see, you can do this, which is pretty sweet. And like once I get the mouse picking kind of integrated, I want to be able to like click on this, maybe draw a highlight on top of it. Even with Avalonia, doesn't really matter. It could be the engine, and then right click it and go like open sprite sheet or something, right? So it's like nice and seamless. You could also build these menus using a different framework inside of your engine if you wanted. Like you could just use I'm GUI, right? I don't even know who's still in here. I see it's only one person. Did I lose everyone with my blabbing? Not enough coding, too much blabbing. Okay. How should I bring these files in now? Add existing item. I think I can just... I think I can... Let's do this flat buffers. Let's do this the nice way. And what we're gonna do what we're going to do is go to and flat buffers, and then I can do flat C. What is it? Tooling? No, what am I doing? It's here. I think it was -n, and then we can say engine.fps, and that'll generate the classes for me. Should just be able to, yeah, there we have the classes now. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that should be, how do you deserialize now with C#? Buffer access, deserialization. Okay, so C#, the bytes you just read. Okay, so can we, maybe this should be a byte array instead of a int pointer. Let's try. Okay. Then render info equals we'll say render info info dot get root is monster. What? Oh, this is the other. I need to do engine dot interrupt dot render info ri equals engine dot, because I have another class called render info. Get root as render info. Is that what it was? Yes. And then new byte array, byte buffer. My buff dot data. Where's my buffer coming from? Is that a flat? What the hell? Where is this supposed to come from? Okay. If you look at the generated files, if I see, you will see it generated for each time. Okay. Is this even going to compile? Ah, wait, I'm stupid. I forgot. It doesn't generate everything. I think for C#, I have to add a dependency. I have to add like flat buffers or something. There's probably a getting started language guides. .NET. That's a complete guide for flavors, including C#. Cool. Where's generated files are then including a project to be built by application. This is heavily dependent on the build system. Cool. Using Google dot. So wait, is it generated then? Google importing the runtime libraries. Okay, where are the runtime libraries? That's kind of a key piece, isn't it? Do I have to add a separate project? I bet there's no NuGet package. That would be too easy. Oh, there is. Okay. Let's see what happens. So that means that I should be able to go using Google dot flat buffers, and I should. Where's that byte buffer? Oh, there we go. Let's Validate versions 25.12.19. I knew that would be too easy. Okay. Fine. Not this. Where am I? I don't want to put stuff there. I have too much shit open there. Do I have another one? Yes, I do. Flat buffers, C sharp. Flat sharp. That shows Google's level of serialization format implemented in C sharp. Okay, I don't need that. Flat buffers. I think that's just the compiler. I'm pretty sure lib SDKs. This is the code. .NET flat buffers. Yeah, I think I can just include it from there. And then I don't have to deal with version horseshit. Add project reference. And I should be able to browse. Is that just for files though? Yes, it is. Okay, I need to add it to the solution. Add existing project. This is where C# really shines. It's like you just pull in the code. Go SDKs, flat buffers. It's a good thing I didn't delete this. I was going to delete that folder once I installed it. So now I have Google flat buffers somewhere. There we go. I don't need all this. And then I can make that. You just go boom, project reference, and then make flat buffers a project reference. And now this should disappear. And this should pass. And I should be able to build. Oh, or not. What's the problem? My buff dot data. What is it complaining about? Argument 1. Oh, is it this? What? Okay, back to reading because this is my downfall. I'm not reading documentation. Where was I? Low memory efficient was why basic as root nodes. Is this not how you do it then? engine dot interrupt dot. What is this? Get monster. Where is this even coming from? Sounds visually less important as convenient. Yeah, it can be used able to unpack value to objects in standard. No, I want efficiency. I don't. I'm not gonna do that. Let's say byte buffer db. And then just pass in the data. New byte buffer my message dot data. I'm confused. What the hell is... It's powered by switching repeatable. Generated source will not handle marshalling. Oh. Maybe if I make it an int pointer. Yeah, because it doesn't know what to do with that type. Is that what it is? Will not handle marshalling of the return type. Okay. Oh, it's probably going to complain that it's an int pointer to a byte array. This is where how do you go from int pointer to byte array? New byte size. Shouldn't have to copy it. I have to mark it unsafe. That's fine. To pointer. What is your problem? Do I have to cast? I do have to cast. Or it needs to be a pointer type like this. And it has to be marked unsafe. I'm assuming that's the whole point of this unsafe thing. Okay. bytes, but now it doesn't have a size. I don't want it to. Cannot convert from byte to int. I don't care about that. Size, byte buffer. Okay. How do you fill this? Okay, bb dot. Do you have to fill it yourself? Like, can't I just use the pointer directly? Okay, so I can use this pan. I think this is to avoid the copying, which would be nice. Do I have access to a span? Type safe, memory safe representation. Okay, so we can do message dot message. No. Oh no, what am I doing? Byte pn equals new span and move and just byte. And, oh my god, get the fuck out of the way. And then just takes the. Look at this auto completion, like it needs to fuck off. Okay, pointer and length, that's what I need. Dot data message dot size. Do I have to cast it to a void pointer? Isn't the whole point of a void pointer to pointer? Okay, that should give me that. And now here I should be able to just okay, I shouldn't have to do that. I can just do toArray. Span dot toArray. That should just give me a byte array. Okay. And then this should just take the byte array. And then I should be able to do debug dot write line render info max frames in flight, and we'll say ri dot max frames in flight. Oh man, if this works, I will be a very happy boy. Obviously, this can all be cleaned up. All this unsafe bullshit can be centralized, but it's better than copying stuff. Okay, let's see what's in here. Is it empty? That's nice. So that's going to give me nothing. Probably going to give me a big fat 0. Yeah, max remote flight 0. Because it didn't actually copy it. So what's the point of passing a pointer? Like, this is the data. What is the point of giving it the pointer if it's just going to... What? Like, why? It is worth mentioning the 2-array causes an allocation. Well, we don't want that, do we? Why don't we go to... What's this? The best way to convert the image to a byte without losing any data looks like you need to marshal. Sounds like you're trying to get bytes occupied by an object. Can you be more specific? But why copy? Yeah, see, this guy's probably doing the same thing I'm doing. Getting an in pointer from the DLL. Like, there's no way they're expecting you to make copies every time. Like, the data is just flying over the wire. Or maybe... Maybe... Let me see something. Serializing. Where's deserializing again? Deserializing. C#. The data you just read. Okay. Oh, that doesn't help me. Shift that require converting OpenCV meant to equivalent. Okay, so sounds like this person is doing exactly what they're getting the image unsafe byte pointer. Okay. This is exactly what I'm doing. Maybe I don't want to do this. If I go byte pointer equals byte star message dot data. this won't work because it's not an array type. Can I just fucking... Okay, so maybe I do need to do a copy. So keyword allows direct access to the sequence memory without copying. Okay, so I'll just stick with this and I can optimize the copy out later. Span dot to array. And I'm pretty sure this is what I had before. For some, do you have to... Okay. And I'm pretty sure this is going to be 0. Why is that? Or am I not setting that? I don't need this. Pretty sure this was all working fine. Yeah. That's the pointer. And it's 0. No. Argument out of range exception. Okay, call stack. That makes no sense. That makes no sense. So it looks like I'm just passing. I bet I know why. I know why. It's because this thing's going out of scope in C++. Where's the interrupt stuff? Yeah, because all this shit is going out of scope. So of course that memory is just going to be gone by the time this function finishes. Okay, so why don't I do this. Here I can just do flat buffer builder. Okay. I can do oops. And this, oh, yes, okay, good. So now I should be able to do this and this. Fact, that should give me what I need. And then I gotta hop off because I gotta go see my kid. Okay. What? Okay, let's just be sloppy for a second then. Maybe I can't do this. Maybe what I need to do okay. All right. This span has a bunch of data for me. Cool. Now, if I go back here and I look at this span, it should have the same data, and it does. And this should now print what it's supposed to. Okay, beautiful. Now I just have to fix the memory leak. Interrupt. Oh. This is good though. So now it'll be, let's say, process message, and then this could be like, let's do something like this can all get cleaned up some more. Class interrupt messages, and we'll say get render info equals 1. Says message, we'll say interrupt messages. Message. Switch message case. Let's do static cast, or just whatever. We'll do interrupt. I think I can leave that out. Actually, can't I? No, I can't. Break. And then here we'll just pass back an empty buffer. That size equals 0. And I don't even need this break since I have a return here. And now I can replicate those on the C# side without having to write all these stupid DLLs. So I might have like, where is the thing of the thing here? So send message. Let's just hardcore, or enum. I have to define that elsewhere. If I just pass 1 here, I think I can also go enum, public enum, okay. Get message equals 1, or no, get render info. And then here I can say, what do I call these? My enum. Interrupt message. Interrupt message dot. And that shouldn't work, but you should be able to do. How do you convert an in? C# enum to int. Actually, better yet, we don't need to do that. This should just be able to, where's my, I have too much stuff open. This should just be able to okay. Should just be able to pass that now, no? Did I not change that? Or no, I didn't change it yet. think the marshalling should automatically turn that into an integer if it's smart. Otherwise, I'll have to do something different. Where is external? External takes a message ID. And external CPP. Let's see what it does. Might not compile it because it doesn't know. Or there's also that. Forgot to change that. And not get stuff. We're gonna call that process interrupt message. And it's gonna take a int message ID. And then here we'll put message ID. And then this thing should be able to, let's do this. And then here we can say interrupt message msg equals static cast interrupt message ID. There are safer things that you can do, but that's okay. And external CPP should be calling process interrupt message ID. I think we should be able to build now. I think, unless I missed something. All right, now let's follow the trail and make sure this, once this is done, I should just be able to easily do this stuff. So message ID is coming in as 1. That means that it successfully went from C# enum to integer. And then I should have, well, it worked. I found it. And this comes back, and we should get what we need. Boom, success. I think the only other thing I need to do now is pre-allocate the buffer on the C# side, send it to C++, fill it, and then delete it when I come back into C#. This way I don't have to do this copy. I can just send the memory, fill it, but I don't need to worry about that right now because that's a very, very small optimization. I'll have to wrap this stuff up, and then I can start removing all this DLL crap. All of these things here can be done using the flat buffers, which is much nicer to work with than writing all this extern stuff, which I don't feel like dealing with. So, but in any case, if anybody cares to follow the journey, hopefully hop on again. There's only 2 people, so if any of you two. But I do have a Discord channel, which I should always post a link. Where is my Discord channel? I'll post the link if anybody wants to follow along with me again. Where's the link? The link is here. And now the chat. hop on there. And yeah, we'll chat again. I gotta go. Oh, yeah, maybe I should be posting my live stream on here. Jeez, I'm stupid. I didn't even post it on my Discord. Next time. All right, later, guys. Oh.